Hey guys, today we're going to do a slightly different IBO review. This time we're going to look at the Gundam Astaroth, but it's not from the main anime and manga series. It's actually from a side story called Iron-Blooded Orphans Gecko. So I guess that particular story follows the Astaroth and where it comes from. It's pretty interesting. We'll cover that in just a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and look at the box here real quick because it is pretty sweet. So here we get a great shot of Gundam Astaroth, and well, you can tell right off the bat, this is not a normal Gundam. It is kind of just very strange. Got a big blue arm over here, a little white arm over here. Talking about a giant friggin' sword right here, and it's really cool. Let's just say that. We'll definitely cover the many different details of this guy here in a little bit, but I like this box art. And well, I don't know the actual story. I haven't seen it because it's not animated. It's pretty cool that they managed to find a little animation for it. Actually, if you look in the background here, you can see Gujin's hammer. You can see the original mace that Barbatos uses. You see the claw from the Schwalbe Greys. You see a regular Grey's axe right here. And then you come over here and you see the sword that Barbatos uses. So that's kind of interesting that they decided to put all that there in the background. So we'll come over here. You get the normal Iron-Blooded Orphans banner, and I'm guessing this is for the side story manga this comes from. So the Gecko logo. You got the HG Iron-Blooded Orphans line here, and you got a picture of its pilot, which is RG or Argy Mirage. Probably RG Mirage. And he really looks like an intense dude. Apparently in the story he kind of steals Astaroth from the kind of gang leader who has it. So you come down here and it says Gundam Astaroth on the bottom. And it is an official Bandai product because that's what we buy around here. Come to the bottom, if it'll actually focus. There we go. Action shot. You see him punching with his big old weird arm there. And you can see here, it's got two hands on one arm. That's really friggin' weird. Come up here, you got a nice shot of the head, a weird shot of the side of the leg, big shot of that giant sword, and I'm guessing it shows here that it folds. We'll talk about that in the gimmicks. Come over here, and you got a nice little gun and knife. And down here, just showing, I'm guessing, articulation, showing that it can move right there. Nice elbow bends about that much. You can see the shoulder here, and a great shot of it just being flexible. It says customized. It doesn't really give you any options, but realistically, this guy is a custom in and of himself. So it's showing that you have the dual ports in the backpack. You can plug stuff in, just like you can with all the other Gundams and even the Grazes. And even that the shoulder armor can pop off, the side armor can pop off, and you can use it different ways or put other things there. Come around to the back of the box, and you see we got the HG Iron-Blooded Orphans. This is number 19, so this was the last in that series for the most part. Even though it wasn't part of the main continuity, it's pretty much the last one in the original series. And then you got the Bandai thing. And I brought this up in the other review. The BandaiHobby.net is over here now. And that one is over here. So I'm guessing it depends on the artwork. Wherever the particular artwork is, the BandaiHobby.net label moves around. And you come to the back here, and it definitely shows a great shot of front and rear of Astaroth there. And this is a great big read up here. I suggest looking up the actual story. I haven't been able to find the actual manga, but I guess I didn't look hard enough. I don't know. But then, of course, it shows here where you got the different places there. You got BandaiHobby.net, Bandai Hobby site, Hobby Japan, Gundam A. I think I know what that is, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And GTKatsu.com, as usual. Don't stick anything in this box in your 3-year-old's face, it'll hurt. All the different plastics up here, and the person with the toilet. And this thing was only 1,000 yen, so this one went back, even though it's the last one in that line, it went back to only being about 10 bucks. Which, it's a pretty simple kit, so that makes sense. The illustration is by Koma again. Good to see you back. And the background is, as always, by Saito Yoshinobu. But it's upside down. Even though it's a side story, it's still upside down. Alright, guys. Pull this out of the way, and we will look at Astaroth. Alright, guys. Now that we've got Astaroth all out of his box, he is good to go and looking very, very asymmetric, because that's what they were going with this design. And if you actually get a chance to look into the story, the whole point is that Astaroth, as it was after the Calamity War, it was lost. So the Warren family just happened to find it on the moon in a crater, and it was mostly whole. And they had it, and the Warren family being one of the rich and powerful seven stars, eventually they kind of ran into some issues and started selling off the Astaroth's armor and weapons and everything like that. So it was basically the bare Gundam frame. So what happened after that? Well, they sort of needed it to get back into battle, more or less. So they started arming it with whatever they can find. So they used a lot of spare parts. And we're going to look at that now. In particular, this shoulder comes from another suit called a Spinner Rhodey, which I'm guessing is a different version of the Man Rhodey. We haven't actually gotten that kit, but surprised if they made this shoulder, odds are that there's a Spinner Rhodey kit going to exist somewhere else. And actually, if you look at it, this right here is actually a side skirt from a Hyakron. Don't know where he got that, because Hyakron is only owned by Teiwaz. And in fact, this whole extra little doohickey hand right here is supposedly part of that as well. It does actually look very similar in some ways to the extra like punching fist that the Hyakron has. And actually we could take a quick look at that just real fast, and you can actually see this part is clearly the same. It is the same as that. So we'll look at the rest of it. That's one reason why it's so asymmetric. Now they don't mention where this shoulder comes from. I'm guessing they just made it. The rest of it is pretty much all the same. You got these nice boosters here, but you come down to the legs. Go ahead and take them off the stand, and you can see just from a side view they're different. So this knee looks a bit more like the standard kind of Gundam, and this one clearly came from something else, or at least part of the knee armor did. So at some point they must have run out of the armor. And if you look at the inside of the legs, they're essentially the same, but it looks like this side is missing a cover, like right here. So they just sort of ran out of bits and pieces that they can use. And we'll take a look at this guy up close, because as usual I had to do a few little details. Now the head I didn't really bother with that much. It was actually pretty good. Oh, and that's actually one thing in the details. The Astaroth head, even though they sold all the armor, this is as close approximation as they could get to what the original one looked like. So they actually rebuilt the head. Let's take a look in there. You can see the nice little eyes going in there. This thing did come with a few stickers, and I'll show that. Like here, and of course the eyes. These guys, I wasn't going to try to replicate a kind of greenish gold sticker with paint, so decided to go ahead and use those. You get these same nice metallic foil stickers here on the boosters. Once again, wasn't about to try to replicate that look. But that's actually it for the stickers. Now just go ahead and take a look at the quick little paint detail. As usual, whenever I'm doing one of these Gundams, you get the hoses. I painted those with my favorite dark gray marker ever. And then, of course, this dot right back here, same deal. And in here on the forearm hoses, you can barely see it in there, but I painted those as well. The torso hydraulics, I just painted those nice silver, just making them pop a little bit. And then you come over here to the side, this hand, just these little, I'm looking at it in my own hand. Here we go, just little spots here. Add some gray there on the knuckle there, added some silver just to those bits. Come down to the knee. I thought it was a sticker at first, but yeah, I painted that. It was really hard to tell. I painted it that well. So this was supposed to be a sticker. That's painted in there. These, I believe, are supposed to be stickers. I had to paint that on. Same thing as there. Same thing as right here. And then all of this. This was a sticker with two foil things for like screws or bolts right there. The feet, these are supposed to be black stickers, just painted them black. This wasn't even a sticker or anything. I just painted that because I had to make it look right. That's just what it was supposed to look like. Come down here, once again, this wasn't going to be anything, so I painted that dark. Added a couple silver detail to the bottom of the feet there just to make it look good. Now these thrusters, you can see inside here, this is all painted dark. That it was like one or two steps a little farther than it should have been, but this booster right in there, which is kind of hard, there it goes, that was supposed to be dark colored, as well as the one on the back here. And, well, they don't give you anything for that, so it would just have to just be. And that wasn't going to leave it. Same thing with these leg thrusters. The whole inside of there needed to be dark. Catch the light just right. There we go. And then come back here to the leg hoses in there. Sometimes hard to catch the light. Painted those dark gray as well. These nice little pistons on the leg. Painted those silver, along with just this little vent here on the butt. Painted that silver. Now, if I remember correctly, I didn't do this, but these particular parts of the boosters, those are supposed to be blue, if I remember right, but I didn't paint those just because it's kind of hard to paint blue over white and make it look okay. So that's kind of it. I think that probably should have been some other color, but that's okay. I'm not going to bother with it. So let's take a look at his articulation real fast. Standard head articulation. Normal HG, double ball joint neck, but once again, only the head really moves. The neck barely does down here. So, come over here. Of course, you get the standard Gundam articulation. You got the upswinging armpit. And then, if you turn the arm this way, you can actually get some really good, hey, teacher, here, hey, over here, me, side story, over here. But you get that nice articulation there. Got to swing it down. Of course, the shoulder armor moves up nice and well. I think that is just the standard, like, Barbatos's shoulder connection there. That's, yeah, I was checking, but it looked like that was loose. Okay, so you get your bicep rotation. That's normal. You get the normal Gundam single-jointed elbow, but this one doesn't go very far because the armor inhibits it. You get the standard wrist articulation. This one's actually a little bit wobbly, as you can see. And, of course, they all pretty much have the exact same hands. And we've already seen it a little bit. You get the standard Gundam ab crunch. You get the waist rotation, but it is running into the armor right here on the crotch. So you don't get too much more movement. I ain't going to force it. Of course, you get the little flappies here. Did cut them, so they do move individually. See, actually, see, it folds the wrong way out of the way of the leg. But you get the normal Gundam leg. You can get it up full 90 forward. See how far back we can go. Get that out of the way. The back armor hinders it, or else it could probably go a lot farther. Goes out, does the splits, no problem. Side kick. Oh, and we'll get to that. And the toe moves like a normal Gundam foot. Okay, come down here, you get the normal Gundam double jointed knee, which gives it a good squat, but it can't really go any farther than that just for the limitations of the armor being in the way. It is great. I do love how articulate these legs are. Come down here to the ankle, you get the normal ankle ball joint up in there, and then the ankle rotation, if I can get it to go. It's always the stiffest part, is that. Plus the toe bit there was sort of holding it. So that can pretty much go infinitely in a circle, but why would you? So that's it. And of course you get the boosters like a normal side skirt, but just ridiculous. So they flap, they turn, and then even this little flap here opens and closes just a little bit. And then if you're going to talk about it, it has this nice little articulated arm on the back for something that we're going to look at right now. Oh, here's a great, if I can get it on camera, you can see the spine in there is painted silver just enough to make it pop. I do love how they just have that like dual spine on these things. We'll go ahead, set this guy here for a second. Nope, you're gonna stay there. Stay. One problem is that side skirt just turned and it will not go back. Come on, get back. Do it, side skirt, get in. Anyways, go ahead, put him on a stand. Just for the time being. Let's talk weapons, guys. Of course, he does have this ridiculous hand that is sort of a weapon in and of itself. But, and then of course, you got a shield arm thingy. He's a little weird. Let's be honest here. It's a very weird Gundam. Alright, we'll talk about his little machine gun, which apparently was owned and created, you know, when it was part of the Warren family. And it's not a bad machine gun. It's different than the other ones, so I like it, you know. It's just, you know, they wanted it to have its own stuff. And then I added some paint detail to it, so these little bobs and ends here, dark gray, same thing here on the handle and the magazine clip. And then a little bit of shading right here and a little bit of silver just to make that pop. Did I do the barrel? And it looks like I painted the tip of the barrel also a darker gray. So, and it can hold it, no problem. Standard IBO hands, of course. So you just take off the back of the hand, stick it in there, pop the back of the hand on. It does hold it kind of secure. You can see it wiggles just a little bit, but then you just pop it right on there and he has gun. He's got a gun. And then he can do the I'm awesome pose with his gun. I like that. You can actually see the thing in the reflection there. And then you get this little bitty knife. It's so small it wouldn't even focus. So you get this little bitty knife that he can also hold and wield. And it's cool. It doesn't serve any purpose. And the main part I really don't like about this, as neat as this knife is, there is no place to store it. You cannot store it on him. So if he's not holding it, he's not using it. So we're just going to go ahead and set it down here. Because honestly, that's not the knife we're here to look at. Hold on. I didn't think about this until just now. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Alright, I'm going to throw that aside. This is what we all came here to see. From the box art and the promo, you know what this is. This is his giant friggin' folding sword. And I think they actually have the audacity to call this thing a construction knife. I'm not joking. I think that's legitimately what it is called. It is big. This is the single biggest weapon in the IBO line. Like, I'm pretty sure it's actually... Nah, okay, I'm not going to say it's longer than Kimaris's lance, but it is definitely heftier. So you can see here, it's got the normal handle. It has this little fold-out handle with some nice knurling on it. And I actually just highlighted the knurling a little bit with some silver paint. And you got some dark gray paint here and a little bit of silver to accent that. But this thing is ridiculous. Look at this. It snaps in just like that. You got a nice little double hinge there, and then it slides and locks together and becomes this. It's not fitting on the screen. There we go. This giant friggin' thing. I think they legitimately call this a construction knife. Like, it's ridiculous. It's meant to smash and cut through things. Like you see here, that's more or less for like being a hammer when it's folded. So you can actually swing it like a hammer, smash things, but then you extend the blade and it becomes ridiculous. And yeah, it can hold this. But before I put it in his hand, I'm going to show you real quick how that little arm on the back works. I almost folded that the wrong way. That would have been tragic. And this tab right here just goes into a little bitty slot right there. So that holds like that. Whoa, totally forgot that the handle folds up. I honestly forgot that until just a second when it did it on its own. So you come back here, and it just sort of pegs in like so. So in reality, it can help him stand. You know, and of course this can rotate any which way. You can put it in either hole, it doesn't matter, and it just pegs into that little hole right there on the side. Now I have seen crazy people who have gotten two of these kit and totally have this guy dual wielding his ridiculous sword, one on each side. A buddy of mine actually has a custom Astaroth that he did doing just that. Now let's see here if I can actually get it into his hand. Because this is not the easiest part. I need to pull off the tiny hand, baby hand, open it up, and you can see the actual small hand does have the different back of his hand. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that at myself. Then you fold out the handle, fold out the blade, drop the hand, because, you know, don't need it, right? Put it in the hand, and it looks like a giant bat. Put the back of the hand back on, and you come over here and you insert it into the wrist. Now, while he can hold it like this, it's not a strong connection. As you can tell, it's a very long and end heavy weapon. So you can in fact use this larger hand to help. So it can actually, this thumb moves. So the fingers, I wish they would articulate right here. It would totally make more sense for them to be able to do that. But you can actually get this ball joint to completely pop off. Its thumb does pop off. It kind of sucks, but it goes back in there. And you can actually get it to wrap around and stabilize that giant sword in his hand. So it's a much better connection. It connects it to the whole forearm instead of just the wrist. And like I said, I wish this actually wrapped around. That would be pretty cool. Now, one thing this piece of armor here. It can pop off, and you can see it's got 2 different pegs. So you can actually scooch it back a little bit. I had it in the forward position, I believe. Yep. So you can scooch it back so it has a little bit more. You can actually see the back of that hand a lot more there. And you can rotate it, except it just popped that thumb off. I was trying to turn the whole arm, and only the hand moved. That does happen. I'm not gonna lie. And the thumb is gonna give me a hard time right now. Dude, I know, but you gotta do it. You just gotta. Okay. You stay there. This is what happens on camera. I think it's gonna go. There we go. It actually went that time, guys. Okay, now hold your sword and be a good boy. There we go. Alright, now you turn the arm, not the wrist. You turn the whole arm, and you get some great poses out of it, like this. Where he's like, yeah, I'm Astaroth, what are you gonna do about it? So, this guy is really cool, and it kind of stinks that he's not part of the main continuity. Now, with the second season of IBO coming up, there is a new version, so to speak, of this guy, and we're going to cover that in a future review, and we'll do a little bit of a comparison. But this thing is awesome. You can see I'm barely fitting it on the screen as it is. So we'll turn it this way. This gun is a little floppy here. Turn the head. Now, normally, Astaroth is like my desk mascot. I've got him off to the side usually at all times, but he's been away in storage slightly for a little bit. So... okay, he looks a little crunched there. I don't care. Okay, Astaroth, you're not helping. Alright, while we're talking about it, let's go ahead and give a quick comparison to one of his Gundam friends. Let's see here if we can get the Barbatos 6th form out so you can get a nice size comparison. They, of course, are the same size of Gundam. Then you can tell they both have a penchant for large weaponry. Seems to be a thing with Gundams, but for the most part it's pretty much the same internally. The actual Gundam frame as it is exactly the same across all Gundams. So, you know, it just depends on what you're slapping on the outside, and this kit really shows that you can do something very, very different with the outside if you really want to. I'm gonna go ahead and leave Barbatos standing here for a second, see if he'll actually stand on his own. Alright guys, but that's gonna be it for the Gundam Astaroth review. Hope you like this guy, because it's really unique, very different. You know, all the other ones have a specific purpose, even if they're thrown together, and the asymmetry and the backstory on it is pretty cool. So, go pick this guy up. He's pretty cheap. The new version is out now, literally just came out. As of the middle of September, he's finally out. And we will check that out next time. Remember to look at all the rest of the IBO reviews. Check out how the display came together. Check out the Shoki Quickies when you get a chance, because they're real short videos, just always talking about the nerdy stuff that I love. But that's going to be it for this time, guys. And remember to keep on building, and I will see you next time.